and Ethan and Braden are our twin boys that are 8. I got into the Changing Spaces campaign because of our son, Ethan. I realized the more we were struggling out in public and sharing our story with the lack of adult-sized changing tables in public, that there are thousands of families that are struggling just as much as we are. And I joined forces with these amazing ladies and started a chapter here in Pennsylvania because I'm trying to help create change and work together as a team and just get as many as these adult-sized changing tables as we can in public so that our children and adult children and other loved ones that are larger than baby size have a dignified place to be changed that's safe and private. So that brings me here.
You know, what I think is really cool, Christina, is that for some that don't know, we did an episode last year, episode 73, and at that time, you weren't a chapter head. You became a chapter head after that aired. So everything changed from that video and that online that we did. So I just think that that's so awesome how that has all come together.
Yeah.
Keisha.
Hi, everybody. My name is Keisha Smith. I co-head the Georgia chapter of the Changing Spaces campaign. I actually got involved with the campaign in 2016 on the ground floor when it was just all, before we even had a name, Changing Spaces, put it like that. But anywho, I have a 16-year-old son named Ty. Some of you may already know him. He uses a wheelchair, and unfortunately, my family is just one of many families who had the issue of going out in public and having nowhere to change my son, nowhere safe, nowhere appropriate, nowhere that was dignified. So I've had to utilize the restroom floor, my car, leave him stored, just take him home or what have you. So I'm just happy to be on this platform with you all, just ready to talk and bring awareness about our campaign.
Wonderful. Thank you, Keisha. All right. Paulette?
Hi, I'm Paula Connolly. This is my daughter, Nikaya. And Nikaya is one of the reasons that I definitely got involved with the adult size changing table. I'm here in Georgia as well as Keisha, and I'm here in Savannah, Georgia. So I'm doing what I can here in Savannah, Georgia to make adult size changing tables possible for young adults and kids here in Georgia, but just willing to do anything that I can over the world to make sure that children and adults like Nikaya can have places where they can get changed and get changed safely for one, and in dignity. So that's me. I'm Paula. That's Nikaya. Say hi.
Hi. Thank you guys for being here again. And Sarah.
Yeah. Hi. I'm Sarah Knowles. I head up the Wisconsin chapter of Changing Spaces, and I've also been there from the beginning since 2016, along with Keisha. And basically, I got a 19-year-old who's a wheelchair user, and he's going to use diapers his entire life. And we really need change. We need somewhere where we can go out, not worry about having to find somewhere like a bathroom floor. We need an actual proper powered table in a bathroom so that we can go and live our lives just like anyone else.
Right. Thank you so much, Sarah, for being here again.
Okay.
And Candace is new. So I'm excited you're joining us this year, Candace. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Oh.
You're on mute, Candace.
Hold on. Let me unmute. I think you got it. Somehow you got on mute. Okay.
Hi, guys. I'm sorry. I'm Candace Aaron. I'm currently in New York, which is pretty loud, so I'm trying to keep myself on mute. So I am a mom of 3, and I'm an Army veteran, and how Changing Spaces kind of all started for me, it was about 4 years ago, a year before Changing Spaces officially became Changing Spaces. I was traveling with my son, and at that time he was my smaller Benjamin. He's 13 now. So we were traveling, and we typically travel first class with him because he does utilize a wheelchair, and we just need to be able to sit with him in some comfort, and economy doesn't usually allow us to do that. So we travel quite frequently, and we thought because we were traveling first class, we would be afforded some special privileges. And so when we got to a specific airport in the United States, we needed to do some hygiene things with him, and we were asking for assistance. So we went up to the lovely desk and we asked the customer service representative, and she actually got her manager And she's like, we have a perfect space for you. It's a family restroom. And I hadn't at that time really heard of family restroom because Benjamin's our first, and my second child at that time was probably, who is, 6 years now, was only 2 years old at the time. So we went to the family restroom, and she had some blankets in her hand, and when she opened the door, it was just a large restroom with nothing. It was just a toilet. And she offered me some blankets, and she had suggested that we lay him on the floor on the blankets at the airport and change him. And so at that time is when I had this awareness of, whoa, we don't have any place to toilet him when we travel, and he couldn't fit on a child size changing table or a baby changing station. And I was kneeling on the floor with his head just inches away from a toilet that, at an airport. So I don't to give you a visual. There's toilet paper, it smells like urine, and I just started recording that entire process. And I had a really good friend who at that time worked for 11 Alive News in Atlanta, which is where we live. And I forwarded him the video, and he got me to speak with Dixie Dixon, who did 11 Alive, and they actually did a story on us. And once they did the story on us, it kind of got picked up by the news, and people started reaching out to me. And then I started doing research. So through that research, and because of the news story, I was able to connect with one of the originators of this law in the UK. And at that time, the UK was celebrating 10 years of having this law that required public spaces to have a fully accessible restroom. So I spoke with that time with another Sarah, who helped me kind of figure out how to get started here in the United States. And I said, well, what are some of the things that I should do if I want to get a law passed? I have no clue. And she said, the first thing you need to do is kind of build awareness. So I got onto Facebook, and I started Googling and just looking, and I found that we weren't the only family with this problem. There are many families with this problem. So I started contacting a lot of people and saying, hey, this is what happened to me. Here's the news story. I've reached out to the UK, and they're behind us. They're supporting what we want to do. Let's collaborate. And again, being an Army veteran, that's one of my strong suits, is like team building, not necessarily getting the work done. That's why Keisha is the powerhouse in Georgia. And all of these moms are amazing people, because I am not the one to get it done. They have been doing such a fantastic job. So that's basically what I did. I just started reaching out to everyone who was doing such great work. And I said, let's collaborate. And then we decided, I said, does anybody know how to make a logo? And we were lucky to have a mom whose brother was a graphic designer. She did the logo. We decided to go with the American colors because we're in the United States. And then we tried to figure out what name we would use. And I was still in talks with the UK, and we kind of said to them, this is where we've reached. Can we use your name? And unfortunately, because in the United States, we cannot yet advocate for Hoy lift or ceiling lifts. They didn't feel like it would fall under the changing places, which is what the name is in the United Kingdoms. So we decided to use changing spaces because we're still advocating for an adult size, height adjustable power changing tables here in the United States. But we're not there yet to be able to advocate for ceiling lifts, but we hope to get there one day. And so through just getting people together and talking about a common cause and commonality and a common need, to be able to pick our loved ones off the floor, for me, it's twice fold, because I'm an Army veteran and I am a mom of a child with a disability. So I started really just thinking about, are my fellow veterans who have been hurt in the line of duty coming back to be, to a bathroom floor? Like, that is, I just couldn't imagine what that might be like for them, and just having our grandparents. And so it's just been an amazing journey to see all of these people just stand up and say, we have a common problem. And it's not necessarily, for me, I like to say that, particularly in Georgia, when I reached out to my local senator, And we have been working continuously to get a bill passed here in Georgia. One of the main things that I said to her, I am not looking to pass blame. I know this is something that nobody talks about because as a first world country, we don't think about access to the restroom. It's just something that's given. So our journey has been one of awareness. Our journey has been one of bringing dignity back to our loved ones, bringing dignity back to disabled veterans who have this need, bringing dignity back to people who are elderly and may have Alzheimer's and who want to just continue to be a part of their community and not apart from it. And basically, that's been my journey the entire time of Changing Spaces under the esteemed, I would say, tutelage of Keisha's, who has just picked that baton up and just ran with it like an Olympic sprint. She has been amazing. And, you know, she's done a great job in all of these months to just see that this has continued to grow. And the work that they've done and been able to get a law passed in California, to be able to get something passed, I believe, in Arizona, and all of these places where they've been able to put tables in, the children's hospital, the airports. It's just been a fantastic journey. And it just, I would say for me to end off, been open, it has definitely opened my son Benjamin's world so much more, because his world started just to be able to go to small places and then back home so that we can toilet him. But now we can fly. Now we can do so many other things because there are people all over the United States just continuing to shed light on this important issue.
Thank you so much, Candace. Thank you. And so, so others that are watching understand, Changing Spaces is the campaign that's here in the United States. Changing Places is the campaign that's running in the UK, correct? And then there's two other ones, aren't there, that are also running? There is
also Changing Places, I think it is. Sabrina.
And is that in Florida? Is that just primarily in Florida?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes, that's out of Florida. And then I know there was a woman in Arizona that I was following.
Marianne Scott.
Marianne Scott, yeah. So she is also campaigning kind of with an organization. So, which I think is wonderful, obviously, because I always say, like, the more the merrier that can be out there advocating, that's what we need. We just need.
Absolutely.
So, however that is, but let's go to Paula. How did you get involved with Changing Spaces? And I know that you've done some amazing work in Savannah and whatnot as well, campaigning.
Okay, well, yeah, how I got involved is, of course, with my daughter, Nakaya here. Nakaya's a twin, and Nakaya has cerebral palsy. She's 17 years old, soon to be 18, and we were traveling. We're here in Savannah, Georgia, but we're originally from Orlando, so we travel back and forth from Georgia to Florida plenty of times. So, but on this particular occasion, we were traveling back home to Savannah, and usually Nakaya's good at, going to the bathroom, not using the bathroom for the 4-hour trip. But on this time, she told us that she used the bathroom, and it wasn't a normal use the bathroom type thing. So my husband and I were looking for a place to get off the interstate so that we can possibly change her. And we initially went over to a La Quinta Inn hotel, went into the front and asked them if we can, use a bed of possibly someone that had just recently checked out, so that we can change our daughter. And they told us, of course, it was unsanitary for us to use a room that, someone had just came out. So I'm like, okay, well, can you let me use another room, or just let me use a blanket, something where I can change her? And they contacted the general manager, and they told us, we were told no. So we left the La Quinta Inn, and we went over to like an urgent care place. And I was like, okay, surely they'll let me go, and change my daughter here. So we go in, we got Nakaya out of the van, went into the front desk and asked the young lady there, let her know our situation, and asked if we can use one of the beds in the back. And she was like, you can only go to the back if you're seeing a doctor, and our thing was, okay, but she's not sick. Can we just utilize a bed, a sheet, something, so that we can change our daughter? And once again, we were told no. So, me just being upset, trying not to show my emotions to let Nakaya know that I was upset. Thank God my husband was there with us. So we just, in the parking lot there, got into the van. We had 2 dogs, cleared the dogs out, cleared the van out, and, had to lay her on the floor. We had to go to the Walgreens first initially to buy a blanket to use, because, we usually don't travel with blankets because this was just an unfortunate thing. So we laid on the floor. And Nakaya, although she has cerebral palsy, she's very aware of what's going on. And at this time, she was probably about 15 years old. And, just basically have her out, being changed, everything out on her privacy, everything, it was embarrassing for her and very hurtful and embarrassing for me. So, we changed her, got her cleaned up and got back on the road and came here to Savannah. So when I got to Savannah, I of course, emailed the general manager of the La Quinta Inn, explained our situation. They apologized, contacted the urgent care person, and they were upset because they were saying, young lady, she actually should have, let me utilize one of the beds in the back, and they changed their policy basically after that. So after that, of course, then I just went online, with my story. WRBL in Columbus, Georgia, one of the anchors there, and she picked up the story. Reason being is her mom and I graduated from high school, and so her mom was telling her about it. So she picked up the story, and so our story aired in Columbus, Georgia, and so we just basically got the word out there. So that's how I became involved. But here now in Savannah, Georgia, they're getting ready to build a new $160 million arena that seats over 10,000 people. And when I heard about that, my main mission was to make sure I went to all of the public meetings that they had, all the design meetings. I contacted the architecture, I contacted the mayor, the city manager, and everyone, and I was at all of the meetings. So the arena is due to break ground on September the 13th. They're promising to have a family room with an adult size, powered height, adjustable adult size changing table. They're also going to have a sensory room, and they're also going to, and my thought was, what about the visual and hearing impaired? So they're going to have headphones for the people that are visually and hearing impaired, so that while they're in the arena, they can hear what's going on if they can't see. And again, the headphones too for kids with autism, the sensory room for kids with autism. And so it's expected to be great. So again, I think it's since the groundbreaking is in September, I think it's probably going to be finished like the year 2022. But again, I plan on being at groundbreaking to make sure that they continue to see my face and continue to hear my concerns. And I'm an Army veteran too, Candace. I'm retired Army, so I know the feeling, girl. So yeah, that's how I got involved.
And Paula, I think you say something that we need to make the audience aware of, is that so many individuals that need a power adjusted adult size changing table are aware. Okay,
yes.
People that are incontinent, there are many people that are aware.
Exactly.
People with MS and spina bifida and cerebral palsy. I think
stroke victims.
Stroke victims, the elderly and aging. I think that sometimes everyone has this narrow vision that it's, they're developmentally delayed, they have this, and yes, that is the case where there's different abilities, but this serves all the way across the board,
Yeah, I mean, all of our kids, they're smart. So, they all know something is going on,
right.
Something isn't right.
And one of the things that we early on began to recognize is it's not only in service for people with disabilities, but if a parent or a caregiver themselves had a disability, current baby changing stations are not height adjustable. So if there was a parent that utilizes a wheelchair and needed to change their child, who could fit on a baby changing station, they would not be able to do that. And now you're taking away a person's ability to fully parent their kid because they can't reach a baby changing station at the height that they currently are.
Right. That's another very good point.
Yes.
Thank you, Paula, very much. Sarah, I'll let you take it away.
Right. Yes. So here in Wisconsin, I've been campaigning since 2016, and I started basically because of the UWM Panther Arena renovations because we had season tickets for 2 of the teams there. So they were doing a $6 million total. They were pulling seats out, they pulled all the bathrooms out. So I asked for a table there and was told no. And I kept on and on and on. I was still told no. And then I was told yes. And then when it was supposedly finished, they said, oh no, we didn't do the table because we thought it was not right that where the table was going to be, the same entrance was to the female bathroom, even though it was not directly there. There was a room in between, but they said you couldn't have a male in a curtained off area or a partitioned off area with a changing table, because women had to go past, even though there was like no privacy issues because there was no like sight lines into the female bathroom. So that was their excuse. And I kept on and on and on for the last 2.5 years. And then this year they actually did provide a powered adjustable height table. So that was one of the victories here, because it's been very tough getting people on board here. I'm having a really hard time with Milwaukee Airport. They suggested that we use the bathroom floor, and they will not even discuss it anymore. They have a pet bathroom, as all major airports do now. They have art. There is a county ordinance that they have to have a certain number of $1,000 of art on the wall. They have several breastfeeding pods, which I know are also legally mandated, but they're also way more expensive than just one adult changing table. They have toddler-sized toilets, toddler-sized sinks. They have all this stuff, but they absolutely would not even discuss adult changing tables. So therefore, my main way of going forwards now is through a bill, legislation. And I've got like my representative Robin Beining. She's been great. And so we were at the point now where the bill's drafted, and I can't share the actual bill, but it's they said that I could in general terms, and I'm pleased with it. She's listened. She's not cut any of the things out that I say. So I said, it has to be a powered height adjustable table. And we specified a size of 72 inches because 2 of the tables in Milwaukee, they've only put a 60-inch in. So that's classed as an adult table, but my son Matthew, he's only just dead on 5 feet tall, but it's a squeeze to get him on. So, we've got I think it's really important for these bills that we have an actual size of a table, because otherwise it's really, if you're not specific, they just can, people can just go and get the cheapest, or they don't comply with things. So you have to be really specific. So my bill, it includes the size, and it includes the height adjustable, and a lot of venues like public venues, private venues, like entertainment. So I'm really, really pleased to see that go forward, and they're trying to get bipartisan support, so that in the hope that it's not going to have a lot of problems getting passed through. So it's taking a while, but I think that they've been so researching every little thing, and they're researching any sort of incentives that they could use. So they're looking into if there's a tax code that they could use to offset the cost, or if they could use a grant. So that is really, really great. And I also have people with different representatives who have also contacted their representatives. So there are several people in the Wisconsin legislature that know about this need, and hopefully the other people will be sympathetic, and they're all gonna hopefully meet my representative, and it'll go on from that, because I think that is really the way here, because I've been having a real tough time with people saying no. The one place that has said yes is the state fairgrounds. I got in there. They're doing a full bathroom renovation throughout the whole of the fairgrounds, and they said that they are definitely going to put at least one table in, and it's probably due to be completed next year. So they were really good. Most people say no, but they actually said, "Oh, we hadn't thought of that, but thank you for telling us." And yes, we do agree that is a need. So yeah, so we're going slowly in the right direction here.
Well, and Sarah, to speak to that, so many also don't realize that it hinders you taking your loved ones to any of those type of things. Like in Wisconsin, we're all about cheese and beer and, some other things, but we have the Wisconsin State Fair. It's a huge fair that people come here for, and our Summerfest grounds and all of those for our music festivals. All of those things, if they're not accessible and there's nowhere to change, you can only go for an hour or two and you have to leave. And I don't think that the public always realizes how much that this impacts not only the individual being able to be in their community, but the families.
Yeah,
and the parents.
It impacts us over summer, the 3 months with no school. it is pretty tough because you get the weather, so you have the long winter where you've got like 10 feet of snow and you don't get out of the house very much then, and then you think, oh great, we've got the nice weather, and then school's out, and then we have to go out, then we have to come home again, and we see people on the beach and we see people swimming in the lake, and we just do a dog walk and go home because there is no accessible, none of the beach, well, there are some beach wheelchairs coming in around about, but there's no actual changing tables in any of the local parks. So, you know, we feel like we're a bit on the fringes of society, because Matthew's 19. Like, when his brother was 19, he was going off to Summerfest on his own with his friends, and he was, you know, that sort of thing where you're independent and you want to go and see bands and sporting events, and we spend money. Like, we went to a Brewers game yesterday. We don't typically go to baseball games because of the length of them. We went to a game yesterday, and because his grandparents are here and there were 5 of us, I bet we spent $250. That's like a lot of money that they're not getting by all people like us staying home and not going to all these places. It adds up.
It does. And I think that they don't realize how many individuals and families they're missing out on, because we all stay home and we all revert back that way. And what really is a crazy thought to me, you know, too, when we think about how big of a push mental health is across the United States, internationally, we're supposed to be doing all this for mental health. So you take these young adults and keep them basically captive at home and their parents, because in any of the outing environments, you know, getting involved in your community, there's not a place to just change. I mean, go to the bathroom. I mean, this is just a simple thing. I mean, it just, it boggles my mind, as you all know. When people get me started on it, I talk to them for about 2 hours on it. I'm like, it's just ridiculous. It really is. Thank you, Sarah, so much. Keisha.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So how did you get involved? I know you're Candace's kind of counterpart, but how did you get involved, and what kind of changes happening right now in Georgia?
I got involved because, well, actually, you know, we talk about videos and photos and all of that stuff. I think pretty much all of us have at least, you know, taken photos of our situations and our experiences out in public with having to change our loved ones and those unsatisfactory conditions. But I think I've been videoing and taking pictures since probably 2012, and I've had an urge to advocate for this on a larger scale, like we are doing now, for many years. But just because of life and just a lot of stuff going on with his health and all of that stuff, I just had not been able to do it. But in 2016, you know, the power of social media, when I learned that there were other parents, other moms battling the same things, other families battling the same things. I knew other families were battling the same things, but had never personally, you know, kind of connected with another family that was having the same issue. And so once I saw just all of these moms just wanting to come together and just finally do something about it, you know, it was just, I just jumped right in. There's no way that I could not, because this is my son that is going through this. It's very personal for me. Like, how could I not fight for him and everybody else that's going through this? And so that's kind of how I got involved. Here in Georgia, we're kind of just still bringing awareness and also pursuing legislative action, a bill simultaneously. We're on a second bill now. It did not cross over in January. Georgia's legislative session is a little bit short. It's 40 days. So you kind of it's crunch time, you know, when it comes to, you know, going to the Capitol and meeting with legislators and, you know, trying to gather up people to go up to the Capitol with you to advocate on behalf of this. So it's a whirlwind. It's really challenging in your mind, but also necessary. So unfortunately, our bill, SB 125, it did not cross over this past January session. It's not dead, but it didn't cross over. We did get Senate study committee approved to do a study and research the need for the powered adult size changing tables. But unfortunately, that kind of went by the wayside somehow. I'm not really sure what happened there, but we're just going to keep pursuing this. We're going to keep pursuing this. We're definitely not going to stop. We're going to keep just taking all kind of efforts, grassroots efforts, you know, just talking to people about our campaign. We're out in public. I wear changing spaces stuff while I'm out in public. Candace, you know, we have buttons, brochures, all of this stuff. We're just going to continue promoting changing spaces on social media and however we can, and just trying to gain as much support as possible. I was fortunate I got a new local legislators this time, so I was able to speak with one of them, Senator Randy Robertson, in January while at the Capitol, and he was very supportive. I spoke with him almost an hour. Like, that was the longest. You know, you always hear you got about 60 seconds to speak with your legislators because they're busy. They got stuff to do. But, you know, in his office, and we were there an hour. I think he was more excited than I was. Like, somebody had to pull him out of the office and go to a meeting. So that was great. So he actually requested that Candace and I set up a meeting with him at the airport, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, so that he could come and view the changing table that they installed for us there. They were one of the first to install a changing table for us in 2016 when this whole thing first started. So we're still in the process of trying to get that tour set up and, you know, make it happen. We know they are busy people and it kind of takes time, so but we're not going to stop. And so we've just been in contact with different organizations, emailing back and forth. I've gotten a whole lot of moms interested in starting Changing Spaces campaign chapters in different states, and so I've just been connecting with them. I'm in the process of getting back in contact with some of them now, and just kind of moving forward. It's you know, slow and steady wins the race.
Yep.
Yes, but you are doing a ton, Keisha. I mean, everybody that's on the panel is doing a ton. Before we go forward, we're going to keep on recording this because this is recording, but somehow Facebook fell off. So don't know where it went. We'll hop back on and finish up, but it's fully recorded. So I'm going to just make it into a digital that will go up on Facebook. Okay? Just so you guys know. All right, Christina.
Hello. So I got started, it's been a little over a year already, like officially started with the Changing Spaces campaign. Our story was shared on the news here, and it went from like a Pennsylvania thing, and then it was shared like nationally, and it was like, oh my gosh, because I was getting, you know, in my inbox on Facebook was just like going crazy with positive things and negative things. I can't believe the negative backlash that people give you sometimes with these things. I'd love for them to walk a week in our shoes because they have no idea what it's like. But it really opened my eyes to how big of a need this truly is all across our nation. And I think multiple people reached out to me from the Changing Spaces campaign. I think Sarah was one of them. And I was in contact with Lee Kaufman with Maxability. He also saw our story in California. So he's like, hey, I sell these adult size changing tables. I was like, oh my gosh. So he really didn't even know how many of these changing tables were out there when I first started. I said, there has to be another option than the floor, you know, because anywhere I went, I really never saw one. I mean, other than at a hospital, and even that is limited. Where do these things come from and do they exist? So I was starting to do research on where do you get these tables? How much do they cost? Because if I was going to start advocating for it, I needed to know all the things. I wanted to be educated in what I was talking about. And so when people ask me, well, what do we do? How do we help you? I want to say, here's how you help. So, and then Sarah and Keisha have been absolutely amazing and just leading the way and just, you know, helping support me and help to educate me on why it's so important that they're height adjustable, because for my situation, Ethan is not a wheelchair user. So that opened my eyes to a whole new world on, I mean, as he gets bigger, I'm not going to be able to lift him either. But for them to be able to transfer safely from wheelchair to the table was just, that meant so much to me to share our stories. And even though our walks of life and our journeys are different, that we have this commonality of where we're coming together and still working together, you know, and just this one adult size changing table, one thing can help so many different age groups and walks of life, like by this one piece of equipment. So that was just so eye-opening to me. And I said, is anybody here in PA doing it? Because if not, I'm your girl. I am ready. I am jumping in all the way. And that's how I started. And I did. I just started sharing our story more, and I ignore the haters, because until you walk this journey, I mean, it is what it is. And I'm here to share and spread awareness, because a lot of people don't know. If you're not walking this walk of life or this journey, I just think the first step is awareness, because so many people don't know unless they're affected by this personally. Some people just don't know, and that's okay. So sharing our story and talking to people about it, and then how you can help, for me is like the mission. Like that's what this is all about. And then having people come together and working together, and how do we share our stories and explain to people how this is life-changing for our families. We can't stay at home because there's not accessible restrooms out there. When we are going out in public, we're either, you know, keeping him soiled and coming home. And then, you know, we have 2 other children as well. So it's not just us bringing him home, it's also bringing sister and brother home as well. It does affect the whole family. Or if you make the terrible decision that you feel like you have to change on the floor in the back of your car, no person should have to do that. Every person deserves privacy and dignity, just like everybody else. And talking about bathroom issues is personal, which I think is why it took me so long to like go public with that. I mean, it was a struggle that we've had for years. Ethan's outgrown that table years ago. But it was like, I mean, there's other people out there, like, but where are they, you know? But again, it's personal and it's private. But once I feel like we come out of our shell and we start sharing, it's okay. It's okay. There are other people. We all come together. Our voices are being heard for sure, because the impact that we're having across the nation is amazing. And what I've seen in the past year has been mind-blowing. So I know it's only going to go up from here, and I am excited and proud to be a part of this. So far here in the past year, the Miracle League in Cranberry Township here installed an adult size changing table, height adjustable, of course. And I don't know if Miracle League is like nationwide, but Miracle League here in Pennsylvania, Ethan plays Miracle League. So what that is like a special needs baseball team. It's for children of all different abilities to be able to come together and play baseball. So no matter what your ability and level is, they accommodate to your needs. And it's so amazing. I mean, this baseball team will just bring tears to your eyes watching. It is so amazing to watch. So he's been part of that the past few years. When I went there, you know, we have this amazing baseball field. You know, it's like padded, and they have, you know, softer balls, obviously, for the kids to play. And it's great. And, you know, there's all different abilities and all these kids coming together. And I go in the bathroom and I'm like, whoa. In a place like this, why do we not have an accessible restroom, you know? So it's literally the first time I contacted them, they're like, how do we get one? It wasn't like, oh, we don't need that, or why do we need, no, how do we get one? How do we do that? Let's do it right now. And so literally the following season, boom, it was there. So they were absolutely amazing, just getting on board with it. I mean, it's just like, why don't we have one of those? Why is that not a thing? So it's amazing. We've used it. He's so happy. He sits there and does like thumbs ups when he sees it, because it scares him to go on the floor. He's very aware, and loud sounds scare him. And the cold, it's all overwhelming and overstimulating. On top of being scared and laying on a cold floor, I wouldn't want to be on a cold, dirty floor. So for us, it's life changing. So that was one that was installed. The Miracle League in Moon Township near us, they're building right now. So I was in contact with them, and they plan to put 1, if not 2, at their brand new Miracle League field, because it's going to be very, very large. So they're also in contact getting tables. I'm working with Representative Dan Miller. He introduced the bill HB 117 for the height adjustable adult size changing table bill. And so, you know, in there, like Sarah was saying, the importance of the specifics being in there, and then listing certain places. This is not something they were asking like the small mom and pop places or the little restaurant down the street. But, you know, museums, sports arenas, hospitals, zoos, amusement parks, highway rest stops. We should be out in the community just like everybody else. So these are, you know, larger places and venues and things like that. So a lot of them are listed in the bill, which I love. And then I recently met with Senator Bartolotta, and she was 110% on board with the idea, and Senator Iovino. So one is Republican, one is Democrat, which I love. And they're working together to introduce a companion bill in the Senate side. So that bipartisan, we're all working together. I absolutely love it. I am so impressed and grateful and just so like humbled by the whole thing. Like just everybody, how do we help? How do we get this thing, in and to pass? So everybody's working together. I'm really excited to see the companion bill come through because we, added a couple of things. We took the House bill and then added a few more things on the Senate side to see, how we can help move that forward. So I'll keep you all updated on that. If you need me to share the link for the House bill, it's HB 117 here in Pennsylvania. I can do that. And then as soon as it's on the Senate side, I can share that as well. But I don't know if it's like this in every state. It has to pass in the House and the Senate in order for the bill, like the law, to be passed. So I don't know if everybody knows that, but that's how, like, it has to pass in the House and the Senate. So even if the House bill passed, it's nothing without the Senate side. So that's why it's great that this is both happening at the same time. And big news, which I think a lot of you heard, the airport.
Tears yesterday. I was crying watching that.
Oh my gosh, I had to save that for the last because it was so exciting. So a brand new sensory room opened up. Absolutely amazing. The gentleman who brought the idea to the airport, such a nice family, Jason and Sharon and their sweet little boy Presley. Amazing family. It was a very emotional day, overwhelming and exciting all at the same time. To be there for that, the grand opening, to share with all of you guys live and just the walkthrough. That room is above and beyond anything I think anybody was expecting it to be. It is absolutely amazing. So if you don't have one in your airport, if somebody wants to talk to someone here and like go see ours, I mean, it is like to set the standard. It is like top notch, amazing. And right next to it, they did a sensory friendly restroom that's accessible with a powered height adjustable adult size changing table and an adjustable sink, which I love. I absolutely love. This restroom is quieter, it's calming, the lights aren't as bright, there's no crazy blasting music in there. The table itself is very quiet, which was nice. The sink is height adjustable too, so I forget who was saying on the call already tonight, but if somebody's in there caring for themselves or someone else, you can go in there, and the height adjustable piece for the sink is so huge too. Because there could be a child in a wheelchair trying to wash their hands or a grown man, sitting up here. So the whole thing just turned out absolutely perfect. So those two big projects being added into our airport, hands down, just, life-changing for a lot of people. And this is going to bring so many more families out to travel out of Pittsburgh and to travel into Pittsburgh, knowing that we have those two projects that just finished here in Pennsylvania. So absolutely amazing. I have a lot of things in the works with other people that I've been in contact with, museums and things in the area, reaching out to hospitals and the sports arenas. So lots of things on the list, but those are the ones that are already installed. But change is happening, guys. It is happening.
And they are
going.
They are showing others what they need to be doing.
Yeah.
So all the airports.
Yeah.
I think there's 7.
Yeah, there's
not it. 7.
Yeah.
7 airports.
It's unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? They're setting like the gold standard, but really it should just be what is. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be like,
right.
You have to have this gold standard for it. It's standard. It should be standard in every airport. It's an airport.
I know.
It's kind of like the hospital. Though I am a huge fan of our hospital here, has some of the best doctors in the world that are here in our state. They still don't have Sarah and me are in the same state. They still don't have a changing deal. You have people flying in from all over the world because you have the best top-notch doctors in pediatrics and in young adults, and they don't have one. Shouldn't it be in every hospital? That's a no-brainer, I feel.
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah. Could be. I approached one of the hospitals here that mainly services pediatrics about 2 years ago. Had a very nice meeting with the chief of pediatrics. Thought that a table was going to be installed. It was not. I kept sending emails for follow-ups, for updates. Just was not getting the responses to my emails. But I'm going to revisit the situation. I really am. And Sarah, Christina, wow, that restroom in the airport is great. I think it's up there with O'Hare. They have the shower, the table, and the ceiling tracking hoist. So that is,
Nice.
Yeah, they're really setting the standard, raising the bar high for the airport. So I'm just excited about that. Hartsfield Jackson is going to be adding more tables to the terminals, and so I'm just excited. Just excited.
Yeah, and we had Children's Healthcare of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She's frozen.
Changing table.
Candace froze it. But I know what she was gonna say.
Yes. I'm here. I'm back. I didn't realize
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was saying that we had our children's hospital build from the ground up, and they put their adult changing tables in every single one of their restrooms. And that was, again, I remember me changing Benjamin there, and I just called the number and said, hey, I have this issue. Who do I talk to? And they connected me with someone else. And they invited me actually to the meeting when they were meeting with the architects to figure out what the hospital was going to be like. And they had some other parents there. And I had just suggested, I said, well, you serve kids up to their 21st birthday. I don't know if you guys recognize that they also grow.
Right.
Not because they're kids, it's a children's hospital, like they say petite and small. So when they built their brand new, the Center for Advanced Pediatrics, I was really surprised. They opened it earlier this year, I believe, Keisha. Yeah, I thought they were going to put like 8 tables or 2 tables. Every single one of their restrooms has an adult size changing table, like every on every floor. Every single one of their restrooms has an adult size changing table. And they went back and installed adult size changing tables in the restrooms of hospitals that already exist in that network. So Eccleston and Scotty Wright. So yeah, it is, as someone say, slow and steady does win the race. And it definitely sounds like everybody here is doing such great work and advocacy, trying to build awareness around this. I get that sometimes people just don't understand the need, and the reason why they don't understand the need is I have to remind them information about our economy. And you think about, and you can look this up, and I have to remind people with disabilities spend upwards of $6 billion a year. So it's not like no one has a disability. There are people out there with disabilities. You don't see them because you don't serve them.
Right. Yes.
You don't see them because you don't serve them. So I think a lot of that's what it is.
Yeah.
They don't exist. I don't see people with wheelchairs frequent in our mall or our hospital, but they do exist. They don't come here because you don't serve. Why would I come and have my child endure having to lay on your floor when you won't even take your shoes off in your own restroom? Right? So I think that there's just a lack of awareness, and it sounds like you guys are doing amazing work in just, reminding people that this group does exist and they do deserve to be served.
Right. And what I always like to remind people of is we already know that the different abilities group across the United States, in the whole entire world, we're the most discriminated group in the whole entire world, and that you can join our group at any time. At any point in time, you may be in need of this, and whether it's for you yourself or for your loved one that you're taking care of. And I think that you're right, because if people aren't impacted by it every single day, if they're not actually changing someone or themselves, they're not thinking about it. But I always say the world needs to really open their eyes to realize that our group, our exclusive, wonderful group that we are, you can join at any time and it can happen. And so, I mean, I think that this should just be the standard at any big complexes, you know, I mean, for the fact of being able to get out there, be a part of your community, you know, involved. I mean, it's such a simple thing that isn't that expensive. I mean, it really isn't in the big picture. I don't know, somebody threw out last time, what did they spend in artwork at the new Mercedes-Benz arena?
Millions. But one thing I don't want to forget, Paula, because I'm so just appreciative of the softball, baseball field in Savannah.
That's what I was going to mention.
Go ahead and tell us thank you, because I'm just grateful for that.
Yes, I was going to give a shout out to Pauline Shaw and Angela Jackson here in Effingham County. It's about a city that's probably about 20 minutes away from Savannah, but they have a nonprofit for special needs kids as well. And a pro baseball player, he's from that city, Josh Reddick. And he transformed a brand new softball field, made it all adaptable, accessible, accommodating, as well. In their restrooms, they do have an adjustable adult size changing table. So they have two, both their restrooms, and each of them have a an adult size changing table. So yeah, so shout out to the Effingham Navigators, Pauline Shaw and Angela Jackson. They're doing great things as well.
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, and I'm glad to see that from last year to this year, it is just continuing to grow. And I think that the more places, like when people look at, you know, Pittsburgh International Airport now, you guys can all use that as a standard. Look at what's going on here. Look at how much more traffic they have. You know, I mean, it really, the more big players that become involved and start creating change, hopefully, like you see in many things, you'll have that ripple effect, you know? Across the board. So definitely slow and steady wins the race. That's always my thought for everything. So tomorrow, if people want to get involved, if they want to do something for the day, what are the things, any of you can kind of shout out, what are ways that they can be involved and spread awareness?
Ways that they can be involved and spread awareness is first to just wake up every morning and think about them having to use the restroom and who can't use the restroom like they can. Just when they're out in the community or sitting at home just talking to the neighbor, you know, please just bring it up. Hey, I don't know if you know, even if it's not talking to somebody who has a disability or anything like that, like everybody should know that this issue exists, because you never know who you're talking to. You never know who can help you excel to the next level when you're fighting for something so important. So people can get involved also by emailing us at changingspacesga@gmail.com. Also, our website is changingspacescampaign.com. However, the website, we do have it down right now because Candace and I are going to be making a lot of changes to it. But anyways, you know, just for future reference, is changingspacescampaign.com. And again, that email address is changingspacesga@gmail.com, and we will get back with you. You don't have to be interested in starting a chapter. You can just email us with questions, concerns, or just say, hey, you guys are doing a great job. You have my support. If you are interested in starting a chapter, or if you're not sure if a chapter already exists in your state or in your area, still just send us an email, and I'll let you know, hey, there's a chapter there. I'll connect you with someone. Or if you want to get started, I'd be happy to help you do that. It's nothing all over the place, nothing too complicated to get started with a chapter. It's not too demanding because we all have lives that just stuff happens. So yeah.
Well, the shirts, are those shirts something that are for sale?
No, they are not for sale.
We don't need to be
for sale, but we need to, I guess.
We need to be. Yeah.
And then we all could be sporting the shirt.
Right. And as well tomorrow too, to bring awareness, just change your profile picture on Instagram or Facebook. Change your profile picture to the Changing Spaces logo. So that's a easy way.
That has been asked all month. If you know, just show your support by just changing your profile picture for 24 hours to our logo, to let people know, hey, we are here. You know, people who are unfamiliar with us will probably look at your profile picture and like, what is this? You know, and want to know more. And you know, that's what we want. You know, just to catch people's attention and start them to asking questions and, you know, becoming concerned and wanting to get involved and help to do something about it to help serve this large community, you know, people with disabilities who experience and battle different things already, you know, medical issues. We have to call the pharmacy. We have to call 50 doctors a day. We have other stuff to worry about. We don't want to have to worry about performing a basic need, which is using the restroom while we're out in public. We want to get out more, we want to get more and spend money, patronize, and pay taxes, you know, pay taxes. But we can't do that if we don't have anywhere to change. So yes, reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you.
Wonderful. And I know that quite a few of you also have platforms of support for parents that are out there. So Changing Spaces is there. Go on, follow their page. But I know that all of you put out great content and information personally, as well as kind of your own groups and organizations. So we can drop those below in the Facebook feed once we put up this recorded segment. In that Facebook feed, we can drop this below so that everybody can find you guys that were on the segment tonight if they want to look for support and following and whatnot. So, so everybody, tomorrow morning, get ready. I might come back on live tomorrow morning. I've seen one of those shirts. Maybe I'll go get some puppy paints.
We just did this shirt on. I think it was what, Vista Print or something. Because it was for the National ADA conference that we went to in Chicago a couple of years ago.
So we're gonna have to, by the time we do this next year, we'll all have to have them.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Any parting words, guys? Anything that you guys need to say?
Well, I would just say, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna thank Tammy for always just being so supportive and helping us to spread the word, and having us on your platform is such an honor for you to think of us in that way. And we just fully support you in all of your endeavors, Tammy. And I want to thank all the ladies on this video tonight. You all have been such workhorses. All of you have different skills that I've noticed over the years, and it's been so effective, so effective. Christina, man, she came in and just went up like, oh, hey. Sarah,
I was like, let's go.
No for answer. Sarah is just not going to take no for answer. And Paula, man, Paula is, I just think of her as a mama, because let me tell you, she is like a hawk. She is going to peep out that something is not right in the disability community, and she's going to video it and post it. And she's going to address it. And Candace, she's off right now, but Candace is a talker. She's a great networker. I don't want her to downplay herself, because she's been very effective from the beginning. So yeah, just thank you all, and thank everybody who's been supportive and helped us move along in the movement.
Well, I thank you all for being with me here tonight, sharing the last hour with us so that everybody can get so much information, so exciting. If you guys can drop below once we have this video up, just all of the places that you guys know that are updated, that have added the changing tables, that would be great to drop those locations so that folks know who's growing, changing, and has maybe added them since last year. So on that note, thank you guys so much for watching this 132 episode of the On Air Advocate. If you guys would like to join our private community, you can head up to the top of this Facebook page and hit the blue visit group button, and you can get on in to all of our community work that we do over here at the On Air Advocate as well. So with that, I'm going to say goodnight to all of you. Thank you guys so much. Can't wait for tomorrow for the Awareness Day. Talk to you guys later.
Bye. Thank you.